Fear not. We shan't flay you alive nor eat you for dinner. And when a troop...
Was in Aldersburg when it fell. Broke my heart, that did. But not complete. Now we'll take it back. Other kings could learn a thing or two from you, your majesty. Fight on! It was we who were to offer Lyria our aid. Things got turned right round. It was we who...
Meve was listening to a scout's report when screams suddenly burst from the prisoner transport. In a moment, Meve bore witness to a truly macabre sight. The Nilfgaardian captives to whom she had recently been merciful lay dead, massacred in cold blood among the camp's tents.
Blasted all.
Seethed the queen, looking at the bloodied corpses. Those responsible for the deed, peasants from the quarry at Ravencloft, Meve had welcomed into her ranks. The harm they'd endured from Nilfgaardians wielding whips, this was what had festered in their hearts and minds. The Rivians couldn't accept that their oppressors had gone unpunished. So they took matters into their own hands, in defiance of the queen.
There's fiends, not folk!
Cried the peasants, now armed and in uniform. It had been justice by a mob, and Meve knew it should not go unpunished. Yet at the last, ignoring her advisor's counsel, she left the former slaves' fate for their commanders to decide. For the queen had grown weary of choosing between two evils, each one darker than the other.
Long live Meve! Long live the Queen! Long live our liberator!
All's left is to drive the Blackclats from Aldersburg, and the war's won. Our Demoven's not bad, but he don't hold a candle to Meve.
Long live me!
The good mothers guided you to victory. Nilfgaard angered the gods, the entire north. The good mother... The entire...
Meve noticed one of her scouts, a certain Corporal Larkin, halt his mount and train his gaze on the woods.
Your Grace, I thought I heard something. Could have sworn. A whisper, maybe, but... nothing now. It's all gone quiet. I think I might have imagined it, in fact.
Imagined.
Meve placed her hand on his shoulder.
No one has sharper senses than you. If you claim to have heard something, it's worth a closer look.
Corporal Larkin saluted, then rode past the trees. Suddenly in shadow, he keenly scanned his surroundings. Something caught his attention. He dismounted, then brushed aside ferns, exposing tracks made in the mud.
Your Majesty!
He shouted, quickly turning towards the road.
Sound the alarm! It's Scoia'd!
An arrow whisked through the air, pierced his throat, and suddenly silenced him. Then the forest came alive with cries in the Elder tongue. Elves on the attack.
It's a trap! 2 arms!
Show me the coin or sod off.
without hesitation. This could hurt.
Nay, Dwan fe camest.
Watch your heads!
Let us sing the song of steel!
Don't mind this.
Now we will see who is weak!
Death is only the beginning!
I shall not fail!
Again and again and again.
We ought to help one or the other. Everything all right?
Death to humans!
Have strength, my love.
Renna, stop! We surrender!
The Scoia'tael fighters stood no chance against Meve. When the sounds of battle finally ceased, the Queen, victorious, tossed aside her arrow-studded shield. She then ordered the commando's leader brought before her. She'd expected a ranter who would turn up his nose, spit in her face, and cry, "Death to all Dwan!" But the bloodied elf before her was no arrogant firebrand. He averted his gaze and his lips gently trembled.
Youthful you look, elf. How many summers to you? 30? More?
27, my lady.
27. A wonderful age. A shame to die so young.
I beg you, Renna. For mercy, I ask. If not for me, then at the least for...
Mercy? You jest. You wait in ambush, come at us like bandits, and now you dare ask for mercy.
It was no ambush.
Don't play me for a fool. I know what I saw, and am no stranger to warcraft.
It's not you we wished to fight. Sverre.
Then who killed Corporal Larkin, Werebubs?
When we saw you on the high road, we fell back and hid in the wood. We wanted you to pass. Your scout's hearing very keen. He heard something, then spotted our tracks. You must understand. We had no choice.
You know you might have surrendered.
Like Dristan's commando. Is that what you mean? They laid down their arms before an Edirnian general, who ordered them hanged. One and all. If we're to die, we prefer to die bows and swords in hand.
Why are you here? Were you to rescue Epdahi?
Rescue someone? No, Renna. We flee. The Nilfgaardians have realized they'll lose the war and have renounced us. Without their support, we stand no chance. Demavend has loosed his hounds. They hunt our units one by one. He's offered 50 gold pieces for the head of each Scoia'tael. It's the same in Temeria and Kedwen, if not worse. We wished to join with Yorveth's unit, flee together as far as we could. It was our last hope.
Why do you tell me all this?
Because you listen still. You've not ordered me killed, so... You've clearly a heart. Eseth Aina Edu. I beg you. So few of us remain. All tired, all wounded. We pose no threat. Let us leave your realm. Let us flee.
Enough senseless killing for one day. So be it. You're free to leave.
I don't know how to thank you.
Make certain I don't ever regret this decision. 'Twould be thanks enough.
I thank you.
Meve personally unfastened the prisoner's chains as her Lyrians looked on in silence.
All anew, treat yourself to our new view, for a better future through and through. First foundations hoist the walls, then we'll revel in its halls. Everyone's doing their part to rebuild the homeland. We're building up
an honor to fight at your side, Majesty. Side by side. Long live Eden! Long live Rivia! Long live Hyrule! Lyria! Side by side. We'll kick those black-clads across the side.
The Lyrian Corps neared Aldersburg, and it could not have been on a more idyllic day. The sun shone, birds sang, trees rustled in a light breeze. But Meve saw it as she had at the war's start. Walls illumined by a fire's glow, the cries of fleeing civilians, the stench of burning flesh. As on that day, Aldersburg was under siege. Yet this time, Eden's flags fluttered in the field, while Nilfgaard's tattered sons crowned the fort's towers. The Queen found Demoven's tent without difficulty. Made of sheets of silk edged with silver thread, it positively shone.
Aha! There she is! Queen Meve, savior of the North, the Sun Slayer.
Mockery I don't appreciate.
I wouldn't dare. Not my words, those. You've been painted thus in song. Master Dandelion himself wrote a ballad, The Battle for the Bridge. If you take the bard at his word, you're as fierce with a blade as any witcher.
Is that jealousy I hear?
To be perfectly honest, Meve, it is. For I hadn't the pluck, nor resolve. And when all the North tucked tail, went to shite, you alone stepped up and bared.
You called out the future. Tell me, how's your son?
Baldwin. Growing like a weed he is.
Good news all. Especially given the mother's profession.
She's now Countess Demeretta of Gullet, a lady of the court.
Ooh, your lawful wife must be thrilled.
Hard to say in truth. I've not seen her in some time. Duty.
You work hard, I'm certain. Many a night, too.
You might say so indeed. But enough about me. As we're chirping away like two gossips in the field, do tell me, what of Willem?
He perished in the assault on Rivia Castle. The right one. Demavend, the wound is fresh, the pain immense. I'd rather we not speak of it. A lesson for the future?
My dear, this war won't change a bloody thing, you know. Nilfgaard will be Nilfgaard, the North the North. We'll sign a truce, the Blackclads will turn tail towards home, but the old borders don't satisfy a soul.
I'm perfectly satisfied with them, thank you. And I just wish other folk would respect them too.
You're one hell of a warrior, but you're no strategist at all. Your perspective, you've got to broaden it. Nilfgaard, we cannot allow it to regain strength and spirit, else we'll face another invasion within a decade or two. Measures are required. Preventive, preemptive, whatever the learned call it. Build an army, a vast one, wait in ambush, and when they least expect it, break their bloody spine. Just think, if we were to join forces.
Enough. I don't wish to hear it. Won't even entertain the thought. I'll help you take Aldersburg, but then I'll go home, where, God's willing, I'll live to a ripe old age.
As you wish. We can mount the assault at any time, but... My scouts report a small Nilfgaardian force approaching from the south. They've stayed off the roads, moved only under the cover of night, escorting someone.
Who?
I've no notion. Could be a mage. Devilishly unpredictable, that lot. Could wreak havoc in our ranks. Either way, before we rush at the walls...
I shall see to it.
Are you sure? You've just arrived.
An understatement if I ever heard one.
Niamh set out after the Nilfgaardians immediately, a cavalry escort in tow. Her unmatched scouts, who had led the army through the mountains of Mahakam and Angren swamps, quickly found the enemy's trail.
This way, Your Grace. There's not far now.
That very same day, Niamh's force caught up to the mysterious black-clad unit. Lyrian riders surrounded the foe, forcing the Nilfgaardians to halt. All fell so quiet, the creaking of taut Lyrian bowstrings could be discerned.
The common tongue. Which of you knows it?
I do, Your Majesty.
You also know who you deal with, I see. What is your name?
Kaldvin, Your Majesty.
At last. A Nilfgaardian name I can pronounce. So, Kaldwin. It seems this war will reach its end in 2 days' time at the most. 'Twould be silly to die today, wouldn't you agree?
It would, milady.
Precisely. I've spilled enough blood. I've lost the appetite for more. So, provided you don't give me a good reason to kill you, you'll walk away with your lives. Now tell me. You carry something for General Ebdahi. What is it?
A letter.
Urgent to the point of insanity, it must be. Who wrote it? The dear Madam Ebdahi?
No, Your Majesty. The Emperor.
My. A letter from Emir himself. You must be an important person. A noble, or... Yet your uniform is simple, with no discernible distinctions. Who are you truly, Kaldwin? A spy?
A simple messenger, Your Majesty.
Don't lie. I know messengers, how they travel. Alone, armorless atop a swift steed. You're escorted by cavalry of the heavy sort.
For I often carry orders the recipients don't wish to perform, thus the escort.
Give me the letter.
I've sworn to deliver it to General Ebdahi.
Oh, very well. My translator shall read this letter, then return it to you. You shall break no vow, and who knows? You might even survive.
And if I refuse?
Guess.
So be it.
Niamh's translator cracked the seal and read. And as he read, his eye...
Truly. And you're certain you're not mistaken? Kaldwin, consider this your lucky day. I allow you to complete your mission, with one proviso.
And that is?
That when you hand him the letter, you will give the General my regards.
As Kaldwin and escort set off towards Aldersburg, the Lyrian soldiers looked at their queen with disbelief. To leave a Nilfgaardian to fulfill a secretive task. General Ebdahi had prefaced Lyria's and Rivia's invasion with a series of arrogant demands. The Nilfgaardian had been impudent, as he had felt sure he'd achieve a quick and decisive victory. Yet several months on, he too received an ultimatum. One signed by Emperor Emir var Emreis himself. The missive was concise and left no room for interpretation. With General Ebdahi dead, the Nilfgaardian army descended into chaos. The kings of the north, united, took advantage and struck at the foe. Their victory was complete. The Nordling forces cheered their commanders and monarchs, but for none so vehemently as the one queen among them. Many dream of achieving the impossible. Niamh had done it. Through wit, determination, and boldness, she had thwarted the Nilfgaardian invasion. the Queen would rule for many more years. Stern, yet ever just.
Ah! So a lass saved the North from the Blackclads?
That is one way to put it.
Well, I'll be damned. And a chap, she find herself one in the end?
Leave it be. Bloke's been spinning the tale all night. Story's done. Time we got some shut-eye.
Yes. Particularly as we've yet a long road before us.
Phew. Throat must be parched as old leather after all that. Except, I'm itching to know what happened to the lot of them. Reynard, Gascon.
Very well. Whom shall we start with? Willem? A pawn, a tool in others' hands. Most, if not all, had seen him thus. Yet in the end, he proved his worth soundly. Though he'd started the war a traitor, he perished in the fray a hero, and would be remembered as such. Having settled in Rivia, Gascon embarked on a life worthy of his new title. In doublet and ruff, he looked to his ample fields and livestock in daytime, attended banquets and feasts come the eve. And then one night, he grabbed his bow and quiver, saddled his favorite mount, and disappeared without a trace. Though Nilfgaard owed its defeat chiefly to Meve, in the Empire her name was uttered with utmost respect. Returning soldiers spoke in awed tones of her courage and generosity, referring to her as Gwaedin, the tenacious one. With the advent of peace, tensions waned. Lyria's and Rivia's disparate races seemed to live harmoniously, side by side. The Queen pressed for new laws aimed at curbing oppression. They were a step towards more enlightened rule, yet sadly were habitually broken. And Meve? As I said, she ruled with an iron hand, not fist. Ever alone, ever strong, dousing dissent with commanding gestures. She was beloved, I've no doubt. Yet her subjects always breathed easier when her gaze moved on from them to someone else. And now, if you'd allow me...
Of course. Leave him be, lads. Let him get some rest. Till the time comes for the next tale.
and they wondered whom else the war would yet claim.
Condolences.
Spurred her mount and rode on. By nightfall had indeed sat Gascon devise a as if to ride on. Yet Gascon had hardly entered the cemetery when the Queen turned and followed. Gascon quickly realized he was not alone.
Oh, Maeve. Had I been plotting to do you no good, I'd not have announced I was sneaking off to do it.
What do you mean?
Come now, Maeve, don't play the fool. You don't trust me, so you followed. Probably thought I'd commune with Epdahi in some crypt. Nay, better, the Conclave of Mages. Well, rest assured then. For if I truly had something I wanted to conceal, I dare say you'd not have noticed me slip off.
Are you truly surprised I'm suspicious of you? Truly? Allow me to remind you, you were prepared to deliver my head to the Nilfgaardians on a silver platter.
And allow me to remind you that I did no such thing. In fact, I subsequently saved your life. And shouldn't the latter trump the former? At least in your memory.
Gascon. I was merely curious to see what you would do here.
Ah, indeed. It is rather curious what folk do in cemeteries. Play tiddlywinks, perhaps? Or take in the sun?
Gascon. If I truly suspected something nefarious, I'd have dispatched my scouts, not followed. You've been acting strangely. You bend.
Have me
Gascon led Maeve through the ruins of a mausoleum, past its decapitated statues, past ancient gravestones effaced, past sarcophagi smashed to pieces.
Whose is it? Could it be?
Yes, Maeve. My family's vault. The Brossards.
The Brossards? Wait. The Brossards?
The very same. Traitors who in 1258 revolted against King Reginald, your late husband. The earth lie lightly upon him. An error, most certainly. We paid dearly for it. Reginald had no mercy, decimated the family. As you can see, didn't even spare the dead. I was outside, away from the house. 'Tis the only reason I survived. Was 8 at the time, stripped of title and home. Well, I'm sure you can guess the rest. Frankly, do my damnedest not to think on it. But the wall, the cemetery, seeing them awoke all the old demons.
Your crest. I seem to recall a pointer. The Duke of Dogs. Now I understand. The Brossard's trial I remember well. Reginald was angry. He prodded and pushed. Too far. The sentence was cruel, spiteful. I felt it all, but said nothing. I'm so very, very sorry, Gascon.
Water under the bridge. And the past's a thing none of us can deal with.
Remained silent the rest of the day. When the force halted for the night, he sat secluded in his tent. Come the morn, he donned his typical smirk and witty charm, but it all rang hollow. For the day's sights would long haunt his dreams, waking thoughts. The cemetery, and his family's final resting place.
I could read, so I shall pay for this now. I'm grateful, Gascon, and indebted, vastly. Let me do this. Let me pay my debt in part, at least.
I thank you.
Gascon he sat self again. This he knew, and it seemed to lift a weight from his mind. He could now reconcile with his family's tragic past.
This harvest, we'll be reaping black-clad heads.
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
Horford is excellent in finding space. Giannis blocked by Horford. Oh, he sent it back. Now, I just want to say this, though. Horford has 3 blocks in the game. Never mind all of the points and everything else. Just watch this. See, he lets them get a half ahead of him, and then so there's no body contact on the hip. Wow. You don't see that hopping off. No, that's just a out. All right. Horford is excellent in finding space. Giannis blocked by Horford. Oh, he sent it back. Now, I just want to say this, though. Horford has 3 blocks in the game. Never mind all of the points and everything else. Just watch this. See, he lets them get a half ahead of him, and then so there's no body contact on the hip. Wow. You don't see that hopping off. No, that's just a out. All right. Horford is excellent in finding space. Giannis blocked by Horford. Oh, he sent it back. Now, I just want to say this, though. Horford has 3 blocks in the game. Never mind all of the points and everything else. Just watch this. See, he lets them get a half ahead of him, and then so there's no body contact on the hip. Wow. You don't see that hopping off. No, that's just a out. All right. Horford is excellent in finding space.
Tenho medo. É doido, né?
Tipo assim, ele sentou na calçada e ficou esperando a galera passar. Ai, doidona.
Yeah, it's water, see? If you come over here, I can spray you right now. You better turn around.
Why would you hurt me?
I'm not hurting you. It's water, see? It's really fucking weird looking, man. Does that feel good? Hey, get the fuck off my property. Right now.
Get the fuck off me.
The
Why would
fuck
you spray me
off
like that?
of my yard. I will spray you again.
Really?
Very funny.
Take it off!
No, get off my yard. Get off my yard.
What?
Go home right now.
In your mom's yard?
Turn around. Go home. Go home. You're drunk.
Of course I'm drunk.
Go home. Go home.